to demonstrate the opening up of the main tent for our walk-through, step-through combination. Fold the floor out onto the ground. Now this particular trailer, Ben will demonstrate how one person can quickly open this trailer up here. A lot easier, instead of trying to pull it over, it's just to push it up like yay. Once the trailer gets to that position, it will sit there and hold itself, or quite commonly on different ground will fall out by itself. This particular procedure makes it a lot easier than trying to pull it up and over. Okay, the boys will just show us how they're going to set the walk-through / slip-through trailer up. Basically come up after you remove the tonneau cover, pull the wall and floor out. Each will grab a bow on either side and lift up and over. Once you've reached the vertical position, the gas struts on the inner frames will attempt to push the tent over, making it a lot easier for you to do. Pull the floor out as squarely as you can. And at this moment now we'll go around and we would peg down the floor, starting at the corners heading out. When you place the peg to the corner of the tent up against the trailer, ensure that it is square to the trailer, straight up and down. Doing this to both sides will ensure that the tent floor sits out square, which is the main thing you need to do to ensure that the whole tent goes up squarely. When placing the pegs in the ground in the corners, try not to put too much tension on the whole thing. It doesn't have to be super tight. If you pull everything super tight, all it's going to do is put extra tension on the stitching, which is unnecessary. After the boys have pegged this out, they'll go to the inside of the tent and we will move on to the inside just to show the internal frame going up. We're now inside the tent. First procedure is to push the rear bow above the bed out. Don't make it super tight. Just a nice firm fit, nothing too hard at all. I'm pushing the main bow out here, just to the seam line runs square to the ground. Now we'll take the inner poles. Lee's going to push out and adjust the spreader bars. Now, the boys will now stand the outside frame up with the poles provided. Once these poles are in position, the main part of the core tent is basically ready to sleep in. Once the main part of the tent is erected, we'll remove the cross beam, place that out of the way, open our door up, slide the steps up, everything in position. Lee will pull out the complementary table. And now we'll place the smaller spreader bars in over the back of the bed. These are number 5s. Help stabilise the whole tent. There you have one of our premier tents, all ready to sleep in under 10 minutes. After the main tent's erected, the tropical roof will start to stand up by itself. Here Lee demonstrates by just pulling on the bow and putting one single peg in the ground. We'll hold our basic tropical roof up. Meantime, around the back, Ben's done the same thing. One peg into the ground, and you see the tropical roof will stand up by itself. When you're folding the unit up, everything folds back into the tent. So the tropical roof really is no effort at all to stand up. So once we've erected the main rim of the step-through tent, what's happened now, the boys have gone around and selected the poles and everything we've needed to put up the back. to put up the rear annex. This is a quick way to make sure everything's in place for you. They're going to come in now, and first thing we're going to do is hook the spreader bars up. Spreader bars are the horizontal extensions out from the tent. Just place the hook through the eye bolt supplied and leave these poles dangling down. After they're all in place, boys will come back, and now we're going to get the rear annex and zip this on. If you're going to remove the rear annex every time you pull or set up or pull down, it would be a good idea to find yourself a small step ladder to take with you. Make the whole job a lot easier. Nothing fancy involved here, just zip it on and pull the storm cover back down over the Velcro to waterproof the zip area. Alright, now the spreader bars are in place. Boys will find the centre pole, pull the spreader bar out, stand the spreader bar onto the top of the pole. Always do the centre pole first. Boys will also put the two left and right spreader bars onto the top of the pole before they put it through the canvas. Everything's in place, and on the extension of the spreader bar and pole, the whole annex will stand by itself, and you can easily go from corner to corner by yourself to completely erect the whole annex roof. Before you stand the pole up, always extend the spreader bar out to get tension on the ridge bar. A lot easier to do it when it's in the lowered position. The centre pole can now go up into position to the desired height. And as you can see, the annex will be freestanding from this point on. You can now go from corner to corner. Again, put the pole down to the ground to the desired height. You may go from corner to corner. So we come down to the corners now that the centre pole's up. Place the spreader bars on top of the pole. And at this point you can pull the canvas onto the top of the spigot. Lock down the rubber bungee ring to hold it all in place, and then move the spreader bars to tension out the canvas and hold the whole annex roof in place. All we have left to do now is stand the pole up to the desired height, a bit higher yet. We've done the same on the front corner now. Adjust the spreader bars out. And the annex will basically fall into position for us. What we've done here, the boys have spread the floor out just out of camera view there. We're going to drag the floor in now to lay it out for the annex area. Great feature of these tents is the velcroed in floor at the back. Relatively weatherproof, but great under feet, easy to clean up. Great if you've got children. Nice sort of feature to have. Comes standard on all the MDC tents. Good idea too, as you do with the annex floor, to try and get this floor to sit as square as possible before we bring the walls into play. Makes the whole job a lot easier. Once you've attached the Velcro to the main unit, just step back, have a look, stretch it out, pull all the wrinkles out. If necessary, stick the vinyl under the poles, and this will hold it down if the weather gets a bit windy. Now that we have the floors in place, everything's laid out nice and square. Boys have selected the full walls to enclose the annex. I always find it best that you start at the main tent side. Makes it quite a simple process. Then we'll just start attaching the Velcro at the top corner here. Notice we don't have any of the canvas stressed out too far at the moment. You can tweak that as a final thing. It's always important never to stretch the canvas too far in any of the poles or spreaders or with pegs. Just opens up the stitching and will make the tent leak. It's always best to have the tent a little bit slack. If it rains, then it can shrink up a bit, as it has to do. The great beauty of the Velcro system is it's very quick to put up, very easy to do, and allows a degree of flexibility for uneven sites, as you have about around a 50mm overlap on all the Velcro contacts, including the floor. Always just continue on around. As you can see, fully seals off the tent, stops the wind and the rain coming in. Once you get a bit of a move on with these, it only takes about 2 minutes to put the annex walls up. So you can have the annex roof by itself as an open area to enjoy the great outdoors. If the weather starts coming in, then you can start putting the walls up in a hurry. You see the boys move the tent pole back from the corner to get the Velcro around it. And we get a bit of flexibility going across as everything joins up to meet the other side. Now the walls are hanging in place, Lee will come back in and Velcro the floor into position. This completely seals up the whole unit for the back annex room. Makes it for a very comfortable living area, and if you have young children crawling around on the floor, fully protected for them. Now this tent has a front room available, or front annex. It's identical to the back one. The setup procedure on the front annex is exactly the same as this one, except you put it on the front of the unit to give it 3 rooms. The whole procedure is identical to what we've just done. After Lee has finished putting the floor in, he'll then go around the outside and put a few pegs around, mainly in the corners and across the wall. Very important to put the pegs into the bottom of the walls. It is what will hold it down in high winds. If you have no pegs, the whole lot can lift off the ground. No ropes are usually necessary as long as you have the pegs in the bottom of the walls. If you're only going to have the annex roof standing up by itself, ensure that you put ropes on every pole. The wind can get under the annex. As you can see, this process is also very quick. The walls and the floor will take a maximum of 10 minutes to put the whole thing in. So we're back inside the tent, and we're now going to disassemble the tent and fold it down. First thing we've got to do is take the number 5 spreader bars out of the rear bow assembly and just put them somewhere handy where you can pick them up later or the next time you erect the tent. The next procedure is to put the table in. The stairs get folded up and into position, and Lee will put the table across for us. Just make sure there's a cutout in the table for around the bow assembly. It just sits in basically just like that. Simple procedure, handy table to have around the campsite. Ben will now put in the support beam for the side of the trailer. Okay, we'll shut the door. Now Ben will release the bows to come down. This is done on both sides. And we'll go across to the corners, remove the poles from the corners. And the best place to put these poles is up beside the mattress. And it is essential, let's go back up a bit, is it essential that we place the rubber bung over the edge of the bow to take away any sharp edges that may cut the annex. Alright, we collapse these bows up a tad. They only need to come in about 200-300mm to allow the whole tent to fold. At this position now, we are ready to fold from the outside to get the whole NX ready to fold down. The bows and holes and spreader bars that we've used sit beside the mattress on the fold up, so they're handy for the next time you fold it down. Yep. Boys are now folding it right up. Both push on the same bow at the same time. You'll notice how the tropical roof has already folded itself down into the tent itself. They've reached the point where the gas struts are, just tucking the canvas in and pulling it over on the final. At this particular point, they each grab a corner of the floor and throw the whole lot up onto the top of the trailer. And they can now go around and even out the canvas work, tuck in the ends that they need before they put on the tonneau cover. At this point too, they'll grab all the NX walls, the NX roof, and place on top of the canvas work. This can all go in under the tonneau cover and keep it out of harm's way. Once we've got all the canvas work in, pull the tonneau cover back over to the top of the trailer. Go around and securely fasten the zips and the velcro around the edge, all the tags. Make sure you put up the stabilizer legs. Makes an awful mess of them if you try and drive off without doing that, and of course would not be covered by warranty. When you're doing up the zip around the tonneau cover, just ensure that no dust, dirt or mud gets into it, as it will ruin the zip. The zip should never be forced. Compressed air is a great way of cleaning the zip out without getting more residue in at a later stage. Ben's just tying off the travel straps now. Essential to stop the tonneau cover blowing over too much. And Lee will now come around and put up the stabilizer legs. As we've discussed, doesn't hurt to have a bit of a checklist on this sort of thing sitting on the dash of the car that you can have a quick look at before you try and drive away. Once these couple of things are done, it's ready to be hooked up to the vehicle and hit the road. Enjoy your times ahead.